Monday. Another Monday has rolled around, another weekend full of adventures and crafting and work if you had to work, unfortunately, but hopefully you'll have some time off during the week. I know our friend Lisa from Instagram and contributing member of Friday Off the Grid on Facebook. Lisa works weekends, and so she starts her Friday Off the Grid party on Tuesday. And a big shout out to her and her mom who craft together, which I think is really, really nice. So, as you can tell, I've chosen some new music for my intro for Monday video. I hope you like it. I chose it from the same site where I found my music for my Christmas videos, the Vlogmas episodes, and it is a website called bensound.com, and they offer both royalty-free and for purchase music that you can use for your projects. And the pieces that they offer for for free use, as long as you credit their website in your video, then you're allowed to use it. Or you can purchase other tunes if there are some that are for purchase that you prefer. Anyways, that's the route I'm going. I quite like it, and so you'll probably notice from now on there will be a credit at the end of each video for the use of that music. The other music which I loved, and I know many of you also liked, and I received some great suggestions and commiseration with the copyright issues that were going on with that music. Too many to list all of the people that sent in extremely helpful information. But I think the one thing to mention that probably stuck out the most was a viewer wrote in and mentioned that she had heard that music being used in a commercial, and when she recognized it, it struck her, oh, hey, I recognize that music. So it's obviously been purchased by a company and is being used in their commercial advertising. And so I'm wondering if that's the reason why now, because of course they are charging this company for use of their music, and perhaps now, to make it fair, of course they can't let other people be using it for free. Fair enough. I'm still not going to go back and change my videos. We're talking about pennies here, and it's their music. That's fine. I like the videos the way they are. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time and effort and worry over those videos. I love them the way they are, and so they're going to stay the way they are, and they will just retain control of whatever money they want to make from the ads that play at the beginning of those episodes. So I hope you like the new music. I quite like it, and Friday's music will stay the same. So moving right into show and tell. Those who have seen this on Instagram, you're already ahead of what I'm going to show today. I finished my hands-on design, Let It Snow. And as you can see, or not see, as the case is, I did indeed use that tweeting technique where I combined one thread of the old and one thread of the new thread that was a very similar color, and it worked beautifully. And I had plenty left to finish the top of the design. Now, maybe if I held it right up close, you could maybe see a shade different, but really, no one's going to be looking at it that close. And I don't think from here that anyone would ever be able to tell. It worked beautifully. So if you find yourself running out of thread, maybe that little tip or trick will help you the next time. So again, this was hands-on design. It's a year in chalk, and this is the January design. I have February's design ready to go in my project bag holder, and I will be waiting until February 1st to start the next one. So quite pleased that I finished that. So far, 1 month in, sticking to my schedule of completing these designs this year. So that's a win. We'll take it. My Friday project was moving right into whips. Sorry, whips. Moving into whips. Savon, this was what I worked on Friday. Friday's episode of the Friday Off the Grid Stitch With Me video. Landmark Tapestries and Charts. I keep calling it Landmark Tapestries and Designs, but it is actually Landmark Tapestries and Charts. Savon. And my progress, I have not put a single stitch in this since Friday. So if you've watched that video, you already know what this looks like. There we go, a little bit more progress. I started filling in the DMC 991 color here, and it was really nice that someone left me a comment that when she was watching my video and I was just about to put in 991, she was working with 991 as well. It's just such a nice feeling knowing that there are so many others of you out there around the world doing the exact same thing that I'm doing at the same time, and you know, watching our other favorite floss tubers and people who are joining in all of this together. It's a pretty great feeling. So I've got my two needle minders here. My favorite McSteamy here from, I think her Facebook business is Lisa S Stitches. She's in the UK, and I also, you know, you can't have McSteamy without McDreamy. So I bought both of those. Lisa _S _stitches. I believe that's the name of her Facebook group. And I sent her a private message and requested these because Mumula on Instagram, I cannot remember, but she had them and I asked her where she got them, and then I ordered them myself. And then I've got my koala needle minder, which is from the Creative Curator all the way over in Australia. Now Marie posted really this video. I've watched it 6 times. She posted a little video on the Friday Off the Grid Facebook group this morning. Just one last look there. And we all know that Australia is suffering a massive heat wave, which of course is affecting their animals. And she posted a video this morning of a koala that a gentleman had come across that was, you know, sort of sitting at the base of a tree, obviously dehydrated, obviously in distress, and showed him giving this koala some water. And it makes you cry because it's so sweet, and it's just so, you know, they're obviously in so much distress, and that you know, he was able to help this little creature was heartwarming. So Marie, thank you for sharing that. I might watch it again after I record this video because it's that good. Okay, so the other thing, this week guys, I was all over the place, and I left a comment for Michelle Bendy Stitchy that that this was the case because I'm finally starting to feel that pull to work on my large scale projects again and loving it. But I was really just bouncing from project to project, and I couldn't make up my mind what to work on, so I'd do a few stitches here and a few stitches there. And I said, you know, it's probably just hormones this week. I have a feeling that's what it is. And I'm just a little out of sorts with, if you didn't watch Friday's episode, we had a little flood in our house. We have a second floor laundry room, and the washing machine decided to give us a little rain shower in our downstairs. And again, I appreciate all of the comments and commiseration about our flood. We have some people would call it unique, some people would call it strange, a very strange house. We have no basement, we have no attic. We have open ceilings. The ceilings in here do not have floorboards per se that are normal. We have beams in our downstairs. This whole ceiling is open, so that the structure upstairs is supported by all of these beams. And what I'll do is next video, maybe I'll take some video once I've made sure that there aren't a whole lot of cobwebs up there, and I'll take some video so that you can see. So when the water came through, it doesn't affect the walls because the laundry room is, you know, it's on the floor, so the water just kind of rained down into the living room. We don't have a basement, so there was nowhere for the water to go down. We have hardwood floors, so there's a little bit of texture change to some of the floorboards over time. You know, this has happened before. Yes, I know. And why don't we have a pan under the washing machine? Well, that's a very good question. And again, I'd have to take some video and show you our laundry room upstairs. A long story. However, we are taking steps to correct the situation. So, yes. And so we don't have to worry about mold in the walls. We don't have to worry about mold in the carpet or in the space in between the ceiling and the floorboards, because there is no space there. There's one area where the pipes run along the ceiling that is closed in by some boards. It's so hard to describe, but that all comes apart so that we can access the pipes, and we are able to dry that area out with fans, and we've done this before. So, needless to say, we are taking steps to further better the situation for next time. Each time this happens, or something else happens, like the pipes burst that are in the walls that aren't supposed to freeze and burst, or we have a flood in the garage and water swings into the mudroom. Each time we have water problems in this house, we improve. We get a little bit better. We think we're 10 steps ahead, but we're probably only 2 steps ahead. So who knows what the next water disaster will be, but we've become quite adept at dealing with it. Anyways, so behind me, this half of my sewing space was untouched. Obviously, everything's fine. That side, the damage was mitigated by the fact that we caught it right away, and we were in the house when it happened. We were able to immediately, fly around and move everything out of the way and put the fans on immediately and dry stuff out. If we had left the machine on and left the house, which, let this be a public service announcement, never, ever, ever leave your appliances on when you are not at home, because if we had not been home, the machine would have kept cycling, and it would have done another rinse cycle, and there would have been 3 inches of water in our downstairs. So then we would have been dealing with insurance claims and restoration companies and things like that. That would have been disastrous, and probably my sewing business would have been it would have taken a big hit. So all is well that ends well. Needless to say, dealing with that, dealing with what I'm sure has to be mood swings, I have just been all over the place with my stitching. A few stitches here, a few stitches there. So on Friday, I worked on Savon. And then after I was done my teaching last week, I pulled out Tapestry, and I put a few more stitches in Tapestry. Obviously, hardly anything. I'm going to show you. If you haven't seen this design, I'm sure most of you have by now. This is an ink circles pattern called Tapestry. It is gorgeous. There's lots of people stitching this that you can see beautiful progress photos of on Instagram and Facebook in the various groups. It's a phenomenal pattern. It's well written. The colors are gorgeous. Now, I have been waiting for Brethren Blue. That's one of the overdyed flosses that is in this, and so that's why I have sort of stopped. It's supposed to be coming into to Thread and Eye, my local needlework shop, by the end of this week. There's a nice close-up there. The colors are pretty true. It's very gray day today, but I think those are fairly close. So a lot of the pieces that are missing in here, this sort of fill in here, it's Brethren Blue, and I am not keen on doing a whole lot more work without filling in as I go, because I would hate to make counting errors and be off. I'm a little paranoid about that. So by the end of this week, I should have that thread in my hot little hands, and then I'm hoping next weekend to add some more stitches to this. So that's why I bounced between Landmark and that. And then on the weekend, I went to Niagara to stay over for the weekend with my brother and sister-in-law, Kathy, my partner at Evertotes. And we had a sewing marathon weekend planned because we had to start making we had to make the kit bag for the next kit that's coming out in February for the Fiber Friends podcast. It's a good one, and I can't show it because I can't give anything away, but it's a really good bag. And that took all weekend. However, we took a few hours on Friday night to sit and craft together because, well, we're very good friends as well, and we love crafting together. So we joined in with a little bit of the Friday night shenanigans that were happening, and I worked on my Northern Expressions Needleworks Shades of Wine. And I'm very sorry I can't find my actual cover copy of the pattern. It's somewhere in the pile of stuff that still needs to be reorganized from the flood. So it did not get wet. It's just when we sort of moved everything hastily out of the way, I'm still in the process of putting those things back away. So I have to find it. And I know it's in that pile somewhere. However, my needlework was already packed up and ready to go for the trip. So Shades of Wine. And as you can tell, I didn't get a lot done because I had some frogging to do first before I could continue, before I could carry on. And I have been putting off working on this piece since last summer. At the end of last summer, right before we came home from the cottage, I had been working on this piece, and I had made a mistake with this little bump that's right there. You can see it matches over here. There's that one little stitch that bumps out, and I had made a mistake over here with that little section. And then I had carried on to start the butterfly that matches this butterfly. So I had started stitching the butterfly in this corner, but because my count was off here, this was off. So Friday night, I ripped it all out. I ripped all this out. I ripped out the stuff that was down here that was all miscounted. And then I carried on, and I think what I will do is finish my framework here and finish this border here, and then I'm gonna come back in and do the fill-in after I've got my border correctly counted out and make sure that I do not have to frog this again. But it is so beautiful. So beautiful. I am stitching this on 40 count white linen, and I'm using one strand of Dinky Dye silk over 2 threads. So I am using, actually, that's kind of a fib. Two of my colors are Dinky Dyes, and that is the butterfly, which is the medium, and the motifs here is also Dinky Dyes, and that is as charted. And I don't have a floss list with me, but those are the ones as charted. The outside color, the dark color, is actually a Gentle Arts cotton because I liked that color better. And in fact, I think Kathy at Thread and Eye, one of the owners of Thread and Eye, she is the one who also she's half done this piece, and she also converted that color, and I stole that idea from her because I liked that color better. So even though I'm mixing a silk and a cotton, that doesn't bother me. That kind of thing doesn't bother me. I think when you look at the piece as a whole, it's just gorgeous. Stunning. So I'm really excited that I've got this back out. I'm excited that I corrected my mistake because that was really kind of bumming me out. Anyway, I have a new needle minder, if you can see. It's the Lizzie Kate coffee needle minder. Kathy was selling these at the shop right before Christmas, and so I managed to snag one for myself. There you go. Can never have enough needle minders. So that's what I have been working on. Those are my whips, and probably next week you will most likely see the exact same whips because finally I've got to go on them, and I know I want to put the Brethren Blue into Tapestry. So next Monday I hope to have those in so that I can share a little bit more progress with you next week. That's it for whips. That's it for show and tell. I have a little bit of a shop update today because Kathy and I were together all weekend, and Kathy is the queen of productivity. She has sent me home with a whole bunch of bags that she was busy making while we were apart. And so she makes while we're apart, and then when we see each other, she hands me a stack of bags, and then I list them. So I can share the ones that she has been making. I have been working on a green plaid set for, I have a custom order that I've been working on, and so I need to get that done today. I will have an extra one of it made for the shop, but it is not finished yet. But I can show you the fabric. I can show you the fabric. So the green plaid set, it's going to be, I'll have one in the shop that's a large cross-stitch tote, but I think I'll maybe do some mediums as well. I'm not sure. This is the plaid. So that's the green plaid. And then I'm putting it with a sort of khaki green twill. So that will be on the bottom. And then the lining fabric and the matching notions tote is this, which I love. So that's the liner and the notion tote. So that's the green set, green plaid, which I think that I think one of these green plaid sets is going to have to live with me because I love it. Maybe one of the blue ones too. We'll see. So Kathy made some a Valentine's Day set. So we have a medium cross-stitch tote with a matching notions pouch. Nice blue. And lining fabric. How sweet is that? Love that. So that's the Valentine's bag. Got a couple of those. And moped. Medium bag. 2 of these. I have more of this fabric. I have some glasses too. Like, I'm calling these the hipster bags. I have fabric that has black glasses all over it, just like mine. So that's next on my list of things to make. And we have some birds. Ever my favorite. So if you didn't know, when we make more than one of a thing, so I've got 2 notions totes here. As you can see, fabric placement matters, right? So the bag, if you buy a bag, it might look slightly different than the photograph that you see if you happen to get the one that I didn't photograph. But the fabric is the same, it's just the placement of the fabric is a little bit varied. So, but it is the same fabric. And look at, that's the liner for the notions tote. And of course, the main kahuna, the medium wedge tote. And I love those birds. Nice coral zip and the same beautiful liner there. So a couple of those. Now I'm only showing you the cross stitch totes today. There are new wedge totes up in the shop as well. If that is more your style with the boxed bottom, there are some new wedge totes up there as well, but I won't show those today. I've saved one thing for the end, and I only have one of these left. I sold a bunch of them over the weekend because this is something new that we are offering. And I can tell you there will be more of them in the future. So, are you ready? Because this is kind of cool. And again, I apologize that there's only one left. This is the bag. It's a medium cross-stitch tote. Liner. So sweet. With a matching notions pouch. And then a matching needle minder. So these are fabric covered needle minders. Let me see if I can. There, color's blowing out a little bit, but you can tell. Anyways, we will be making more sets like this because they're fun. They're awesome. We are not recommending that you keep them on your fabric. These are not rare earth magnets. They are just a regular magnet. So they work. They're they're strong enough, but they're not they're not as strong as a rare earth magnet. So they are to be used with your stitching while you're stitching. And then I am going to be tucking these into a floss away bag when I send them with your kit, and I'm going to be tucking it into the notions tote. So I would probably keep the needle minder in the notions tote when you're not using it. for stitching. But aren't they cute? I need one of these too. Anyways, so we're playing around with different kinds of magnets, but I doubt that we're ever going to use the rare earth magnet, mainly because I'm accident prone, and that's the kind of thing that I would probably stick right next to my phone. And I've already ruined 2 phones, not with magnets, with toilets, but that's another story for another day. But because I have a tendency to ruin phones, I am not going to increase my chances with putting any kind of really strong magnet anywhere close to my phone. And because I always have stitching with me, I generally always have a needle minder as well. And I don't think that any of the needle minders that I have, I don't think that these are rare earth magnets. I could be wrong about that. I mean, I think I would know, right? They are pretty strong. These ones these ones are the only ones I've really ever been really careful with because they're probably the strongest magnet I have. But I have felt rare earth magnets before, and I don't know. That's a good question. Lisa, maybe if you're watching this, let me know. Anyways, guys, that's it for me today. Just a little shorter episode today. Looking forward to seeing you all on Friday. I am home this weekend, so I fully intend that Friday night I am going to be stitching with you, and I'm also going to be knitting with the Friday night, Fiber Friends Friday Night Knit In is something new that we started last week as well. So I am going to be going in between the 2 groups because I'm multi-craftual and I like to meet lots of new people. I'm going to be jumping over to that group as well. So I might even get started a little earlier so that I can have 4 hours with one group and 4 hours with another. Or I'll go back and forth 1 hour on and 1 hour off. I don't know. I'm spoiled for choice. So I can't wait to see your projects. I can't wait to see what you're up to next weekend. You can find the Facebook group Friday Off the Grid. It's a closed group. You have to request to join and then answer the question so that I know you're a stitcher, and then no problem, you're part of the group. We're a friendly, helpful bunch. It's a lot of fun. And we really don't limit it to just the weekend. We are chatty on that group all week long. People are sharing their finishes and, you know, their progress. Because, you know, when we see these beautiful things on the weekend, it's really nice to get an update later on if there's a finish. And sometimes those finishes don't happen on a Friday. And not only that, like I said at the beginning, not everybody's weekend is Friday to Sunday. So it's your weekend whenever it happens, and there's always somebody there to chat with, which is pretty fun. So that's Friday Off the Grid. You can find me on Instagram at Off the Grid Needlearts, or the shop page is at Evertotes. If you've been looking for a bag that I have shown on the podcast and you really were hoping to get, but it was gone or it wasn't listed, I always list them. They're always listed, but things go pretty fast, which is amazing. I update my Instagram page when I have new bags that I've put in the shop quite regularly. So if you're interested, I usually post on Instagram first, and that's why we had 6 of these sets with the needle minder, and I sold 5 of them the day that I listed them. And that's because I put them up on Instagram, and people were able to see them, and they were able to be quick about getting them. And I hope that's okay. I know not everybody's on Instagram, but for a small business, it is an incredibly useful free tool for me to use to advertise and promote the business. So I hope that you understand that. It's a very easy site to navigate, Instagram, and it's a ton of fun as well. Lots of people on there. Another community. It's another great community. So highly recommend it. And I've got the blog still, neglected blog, www.offthegridneedlearts.com. My blog, generally, I'm a little more active in the summer when I'm at the cottage, because that's generally when I have a little bit more time, when I'm not teaching, and I also, the kids are out of school and not in extracurriculars and things like that. So hopefully this summer I'll have a few more updates. Maybe I'll try to have a few updates before the summer. Anyways, I'm rambling. Time to go. I'll see you on Friday. Happy stitching, everybody. Have a great week. Take care.